I know that you certainly you studied the economy. You're an economist. You are well versed in it, and I know obviously you were watching the play out this weekend from New York to the headlines that started to sort of leak out in terms of the OECD blacklisting the Bahamas again. The Prime Minister, though quite strong at the United Nations, some people chided him and say, Prime Minister, that's good. Thanks for speaking out, but boy, the UN, that's not the place. But you heard Hubert Edwards at the top of the show say, why not the UN? It's the perfect place. It's sort of where there's equal footing for everybody, and you express your views. But your thoughts about this blacklisting, about the fact that this financial services industry continues to be squeezed to the point that many financial institutions have packed up and left. And those that are here are perhaps even screaming louder saying, what else?
Yeah. When I heard the speech, I said to myself, why Brave Davis doing this? Why is he doing this? Why is he trying to make me fall in love with him? Because...
wait a minute. Well, you had us going for a second.
Why is he doing this?
You're trying to say he really started
Why is he trying to make me fall in love with him? Because, listen, that short piece right there was the best statement any Prime Minister of the Bahamas ever made internationally. I mean, I don't sing his praises, but this is what needed to be said long time ago. This is piggybacking on what the St. Vincent Prime Minister said on 3 years ago at the United Nations. Mia Mottley came back, but he is now crystallizing it to the point where you have to talk to these Europeans. Remember now, to prove that they don't care about us, watch the speech and watch how much people in the room listening to Brave Davis' speech.
Yeah.
When African leader speaks, nobody's in the room to listen to them. When the Bahamas speaks, nobody's in the room listening to them. So they don't really care what he had to say, but at least he said it. We have to go at them because they're coming at us. This is the same issue that the Russian Prime Minister said. They control the world, they control the world economy, the world banking system, and we got to do what they say. And right now, I guess Russia and China are trying to create a new world order with banking and finance. But, we cannot be constantly strangled by a people who don't obey the same rules that they create. Mm-hmm. I have a small Suzuki something, right? The third party insurance is $300. To get that renewed, they send me, I got to go KYC and I got to do all these reports. I say, for a $300 insurance, you're crazy? At which point do we push back and say, listen here, this is overregulated. Yeah. It is overregulated. Mm-hmm. And so what he is basically saying, I agree with him 1,000%. Mr. Davis and the rest of the region need to constantly push back and fight the European Union. Now, whether we win or not is another story. But at least you know where we stand. And we got to, it's the same thing. They keep removing the goalposts. So, okay, this is what you need to do. We do that, then they remove the goalposts again. Oh, this is what you need to do. For them, what their end game is, I'm not sure, but they have an end game. But we have to say, listen, we know what we want. Obviously, we don't know what we want because they're telling us what we need and what we know, and we keep capitulating, we keep moving backwards. The problem is we won't have no financial sector. Mm-hmm. What they do is constantly or totally erase our financial sector, and then they have all of the financial activity within their jurisdictions. So they killed us, they strangled us, so they can have it. The problem is we don't have no fight in us. We don't have no leaders that stands up to these European youth and say, listen, yeah, this is what's going to happen. All they have to do is wave a wand and we capitulate. I don't think Brave Davis or any Prime Minister of the Caribbean could do enough to please these European unions, these countries. No matter what they do, it'll always be another problem to fix. Always. You remember when we were raising the issue on capital punishment, we went to the Privy Council and they said, okay, these are the rules. Okay, you can't have capital punishment because there's no variation of murder. Okay, we fixed that. Then, it has to be the worst of the worst. And so every time you bring a case, they always move the goalposts. So no matter what we do, it's always something else. That's the same thing with our banking sector. They won't stop until they totally eradicate our banking.
I don't think they're going to eradicate it. It is monitoring.
You don't think so?
Listen, this argument started from Hubert Minister.
From Hubert Ingraham.
It's always something else, Peggy. Maybe, when you look at this whole situation where we find ourselves in, it may be that we need to look at new areas of the financial sector, or just move into a new area altogether, because it's obvious that they're not going to ever stop until they constantly strangle us. The banking sector. You need to follow this form and that form. It is more easier to form a bank, to create a bank account in the US than in the Bahamas.
You're kidding.
But
Yes.
it is.
In addition to that, there are states in the US that provide the same tax havens that we were providing,
Yeah.
that they are not penalized. And so why you want to come after us and you don't want to go after the people who perhaps got all the money? Like he said, there were $2 trillion that is money laundered, right? Go after the people who money laundering. Don't come after me who got a $300 insurance on a small Swift. What I could be money laundering $300? You want my source of income. You want all this for a $300 insurance. Come on, that's ridiculous. I think Mr. Davis is on the right track in this regard. I think, though, it is a discriminatory practices by these European countries. And when you look at the way France treated Haiti for all those years, you know, it shows that it's discriminatory. How do you demand payments from a country that is the poorest in the world just because they overthrew your government in 1800s and they became an independent nation? And they were still paying reparations to France, right? But how do you demand that from the poorest nation in the world? In other words, we don't care.
That's it. That part right there.
They don't care.
Don't care.
They do not care.
Don't care. Let's speak. Let's move on, Cassius. But don't
hold on.
care.
Look at the room after Philip David.
No, the applause was minimum.
It was empty. Nobody was in the room.
It was empty, and the applause, whoever was there, was minimum.
So they don't care.